Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 436 for Wednesday, December 15th, 2021. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host this week, and I have assembled through long, hard work, arduous journeys, and tons of bags of cash.
We got
assembled
cash?
This amazing panel. Shh.
Those bags aren't coming my direction.
Don't spoil the... Damn it. It'll be there soon, right?
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Sarah, you are a liar.
Don't bother Santa's elves this time of year. They're very busy. But there are huge bags of payoffs. I mean cash. I mean salaries. No, they're not. Okay, you're right. Nobody gets shit for this. So let's introduce you anyway. I have a large flying insect in here. Holy moly. We're not introducing the flying insect. The flying insect takes no part in this show. But my friend Georgia McKenzie does. Hi, Georgia.
I don't know. The flying insect might be the cutest part. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show this dark and rainy California evening at 6 p.m.
Is it still raining up there?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thunder warning. But hey.
Oh. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
well,
we need the rain.
Yeah.
We don't need flash floods and we don't need mudslides, which we are also known for. But we do need the rain.
In typical California fashion, we want the rain. We just want it very slowly over a long period of time.
Right.
Okay? Because, yeah, everything turns to mud and slides down the hills, and then we get sad. My friend in Boulder, Colorado, the owner and founder of Boulder Hybrids, which you can be found at boulderh.com, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, glad to be back.
Thank you so much.
Let's get rolling.
He is the founder and host of the Tesla Life Show, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. And yeah, let's get going. We got some stuff to get into.
No, we have zero Tesla topics tonight, though, right?
Nothing?
Oh.
Why am I here?
But Mark, there's so much more. Well, I don't know. But let's ask Kacey Green, why is Mark Coughlin here?
Well, you know, tradition.
That's the best tradition. Wonderful. Well, we're doing it like our grandparents did it.
He's been grandfathered in.
Yeah, that was good. And last and certainly not least, Mr. Supercharger, Kacey Green.
How's it going?
It's not raining here, but it is chilly.
It is chilly. It might rain here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, chilly in Russellville. What would that be? What would be chilly in Russell's
71
language?
degrees.
Hey. Yeah, it's like
48.
50.
Come on.
Okay.
That's nothing.
It's chilly.
It is 48 degrees. We are freezing our buttocks off.
There is no prize for being at the coldest location when you do this show. Okay, I'm here to tell you. And if
Right
you
up
were,
there
you'd
with
have a
those buckets
shitload
of cash
of them.
we got.
You would always get the prize. Mark.
The prizes are packed with the buckets of cash. How did you know that, Georgia? Did I tell you that? Now I feel like I'm being intentionally deceptive. So let me pass the.
I was going to say
microphone out
Canadians, JT.
Yeah, and by the way, your bucket is Canadian cash because I get a discount on that. Thanks.
Oh, bucket full of loonies.
Yeah. For our first story tonight, let's go to Mr. Kacey Green, who has something, speaking of buckets of cash, might play into this story a little bit.
So, this one was something that really grinds my gears. Oh, wow. Thank you, Derek. That's very generous.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you, Derek.
Yes. So the story is I melded a bunch of stories together because Mark found this as well as a couple of other Tesla folks. California is planning a new utility fee for solar owners of $8 per month per kilowatt hour of installed generation capacity. What really got me upset about it is my local utility in South Carolina. We successfully battled them on a similar plan for more money, and they lost and immediately refiled the exact same plan, so we got to fight them again. But at the same time, these utilities are installing acres and acres of photovoltaic farms. So all of their BS arguments about how solar is making it hard for them to do their job go out the window, and you can tell it's just greed. And then a few years ago, Paul will remember this one where Florida was trying this. It was crap. It was called the Protect the Sunshine Act or some crap like that, and it did the exact opposite. It stopped you from using the sunshine in the Sunshine State to power your home or business. And thankfully, the voters of Florida managed to vote that down. But they are also coming up for another crack at this lack of solar choice crap. Thankfully, California is not telling them to take the panels off the roof like South Carolina and Florida are trying to do. They just want you to put a battery in there. But batteries are freaking expensive. And if you just barely scrape together or you got in on an assistance program to get some solar, you can't afford the batteries. And then they're a maintenance item. They last about 10 years for the warranty, and then you've got to replace them. They may be just like the panels themselves, where you get lucky and they go long past the warranty period. But when they do their calculations, they have to assume that you're going to replace it when the warranty runs out, and that is an undue expense. When you look at what does a Powerwall go for now, $8,000, $14,000. It was $6,000 for a long time, and then it went up with the supply crunch. And then everybody else's batteries are about the same for the same level of power and capacity. And when I saw this, I just went into a rage. And I wanted to discuss that with all of you.
So what you're saying is you want me to rage?
Well, I wanted to have a discussion about the foolishness of these municipalities or public utility commissions that are beholden to the nuclear, coal, natural gas, whatever the local fuel is.
I'd say there has to be a balance, and that
Oh, muted.
that
We
there's.
lost. Oh, there we go.
Oh, we
Oh,
back?
me?
Okay.
Now we're back. Sorry, Mike.
I
Big
think
utilities cutting them off.
Yeah.
I think the balance has to be, weighed carefully. If you're charging absurd amounts per kilowatt per month to be connected, it kind of disincentivizes you from actually doing it in the first place. And maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they want to do it this way. That could be the case. But I would think there'd be some way of you have to pay for the grid. I get that. You're using the grid. You're benefiting from the grid. There should be some payment that you're keeping them happy. But this sounds absorbent. Like it just strikes me as a grab that they're forcing you to do because they can, and that's all there is to it. I think
and their method of nameplate is really asinine. Like I've got a 9 kilowatt array, but I can only at max load I can only give them 7.8 some odd kilowatt because my inverters are smaller than my solar panels. Because for the amount of money it would have took to get them to match, wasn't worth it for the 3 minutes a day that I could have put out the full array. So my guy saved me thousands of dollars by making it match the whole rest of the day minus those 3 minutes.
All I'm going to say about this is the only thing dumber than this are those plans to start charging a tax per mile because the gas tax isn't fair anymore. Which is as dumb as the death tax kind of bullshit. So yeah, this is a really, really stupid, really bad idea. And especially in California where we've had enough issues with power generation and shitty power companies that are much more interested in paying off their executives and paying dividends to their shareholders than they are in upgrading their power. So they regularly shut off tens of thousands of customers because the weather gets bad and they don't want to lose a lawsuit.
Yep, and it's extra counterintuitive to what they want, because if it's somebody like us that can afford to do this, it's going to further push us to just unplug, period. And that doesn't do anything for grid stability, anything for the affordability of energy. And when you look at it, when the energy is needed is when the sun is up. That's when the air conditioners are on. And if they really want you to get a battery, they should incentivize with a carrot. Hey, get a battery. We'll give you this incentive. Not, hey, here's a stick. It's too bad you can't afford a battery.
Yeah.
Well, and then there's the states where it's against the law to not be connected to the grid. So even if you want to do your own
That's
thing,
California.
So in those cases, what if I stop paying the bill and I've got a battery? I didn't disconnect. Or would they just condemn my house because I didn't pay the power bill? Or would they try and ruin my credit because I didn't pay the power bill?
You're assuming that your system would be entirely grid independent?
Well, I mean,
could be.
I would get a battery.
And the reason I say this, most solar systems aren't entirely grid dependent. Let's be clear here. 99.5% of these systems
But with battery
very
technology, you could be self-sustaining.
Exactly. Yeah. My South Carolina house is my house, my only house, the house I'm not living in right now. That house, if the power goes out, I lose power. But if I had put my Powerwall there instead of on my dad's house, and the power went out, the lights would stay on and the solar would keep working. The clocks would run fast.
Would you think that California, with the amount of people that have solar on their house, they'd be easier to fight this because there's a vast amount of people that actually will be affected?
But that goes back to what George is always telling us: you get what you vote.
You got to speak up. You got to write your officials. And
we obviously have one of the largest solar bases in the country. Okay, so this is going to impact a lot of people. We also have 2, 3 very large, very powerful utility companies that apparently can get what they want. I don't know. I don't really know who benefits from this. That's what's weird. Like, we're going to tax this stuff, and the idea is what? Is a revenue stream for the state, or is it to discourage people from getting solar?
Both.
I don't really get, I guess, but
yeah, because our place was literally complaining, they're using us as a battery, blah blah blah, and they're destabilizing us, and we can't handle the load from these residential and small business solar. Meanwhile, they installed 8 football fields of solar the week before the arguments on their own property.
So there is. This is one of the reasons why I wish Patrick Connor was here tonight, because he has some knowledge of these things. So
yes.
I'm going to pontificate for a moment with this. I have talked to some engineers who have told me that the electricity that your home solar puts back into the grid isn't necessarily a good thing. And it has to do with sine waves and with let's oversimplify and call it the cleanness of the electricity. So at some points, this engineer and the other engineers that I've spoken with about this say that this raises as many problems as it solves. If that is the case, then that's an issue that should be addressed, but not with this ham-handed tax. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right. Especially when you look at all their complaints about, it puts a load on our infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. Most of the energy that comes from residential solar doesn't leave the neighborhood. It goes straight into your neighbor's air conditioner.
Well, sort of, right? I mean, again, the internet is not a series of tubes, right. And the grid is
oversimplification.
Isn't either. Right, yeah. So I don't know. But I think that's almost, again, we're going too deep. What is this? What is the purpose of this tax? What are you trying to accomplish? And is there a better way to accomplish it? You know, that would be my questions.
Yeah. Thank you to Zach.
I guess that anyone else? No. Okay, then. I can deal with that. Let's move on to, speaking of electricity and infrastructure, let's go to Georgia, who has some insights on EV charging in the infrastructure bill.
This one I can agree with.
Yeah.
I'll just take it out.
That's because
don't mess with me putting it in.
One is the federal government. There's a lot happening So I've been sticking to the infrastructure bill because, as my common complaint for those of you who might follow me on Twitter, is that we have a lot of people saying nobody knows what's in the bill with bigger platforms than I certainly have, and yet not one of them will tell you what's in the damn bill. So, in the spirit of Alien Resurrection, what's in freaking side me? We are talking about what's in freaking side this damn bill, and specific to us, all this EV charging stuff. So, you guys may, if you listen to me, you know that they're planning to spend quite a few billion on electric vehicle infrastructure, but there's a lot of questions that people have been throwing around about. So exactly how, especially with the charging infrastructure, which I know for those of us who have electric vehicles, who maybe are not bought into the Tesla charging stuff, you have other charging vehicles. How are you supposed to do this? Well, we have a little bit more details now. It's $7.5 billion for EV infrastructure and an additional $7.55 billion for electrification of public transport. So double win on that. And what they want to do is they're trying to discuss with EV charging stakeholders how to understand where to apply the money. So the money's out there now. Now we're at the time where we're going to make decisions. And the goal is to raise the number of EV charging stations in the US from 100,000 nationwide to 500,000, which is nice. That's a pretty big increase. And they want to make sure that the money stays in the US to not only deploy the stations in general, but also make sure that they're built here. So that's a nice boost to US manufacturing. Key takeaways. They're establishing a joint office of energy and transportation. So Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, Transport Secretary Pete Buttigieg. You're going to do this.
Buttigieg.
Whatever. Something. I can't pronounce it.
You can call him Mayor Pete.
I'm not one of his constituents. So how about Transportation Secretary Pete? So Transport Pete and Energy Jennifer are going to get together. They're going to do a little this, and they're going to create a joint office. It seems like they're creating another layer of bureaucracy, but honestly, having worked in government and watched the massive fumbles moving from office to office, setting it up makes things stream a lot faster. So this way, states, communities, all the groups involved in this will only have to go to one place. They don't have to talk just to energy. They don't have to find somebody in transport. There will be people who handle this. So they're going to do an MEO, Memorandum of Understanding. They just did that, in fact, yesterday to formally launch the office. There will be a stakeholder meeting. That's pretty cool. It's going to involve all the partnerships with state and local government, as well as domestic manufacturers, and also, nice additions, equity and environmental justice people, to make sure that it goes not just to one type of community, but it's a little bit more spread out. Another cool thing, it's also going to talk about partnering with tribal communities, which is great because for a lot of people who don't understand situations on reservations, there's a lot that's missing on the res, and it will be great for all this infrastructure to actually bring some infrastructure to reservations and not leave people behind. So that is pretty cool. They have a new EV charging request for information where stakeholders can submit their priorities for federal standards. I'm torn between, aren't we stakeholders if we have EVs? I kind of feel our voices should be heard. Let me know. It is in the links in the articles that I have submitted. So when they go out, you can, if you feel you are a stakeholder, and I kind of think you are, I would go on ahead and submit your priority. One of the questions that we've had is like, what about people who live in apartment buildings? How do they manage to benefit from this? And yeah, underserved urban communities, it would be nice for them to not be underserved in this. So they're going to issue state guidance by February 11th. I can't say February and or booty game, whatever. And that's going to go out by February 11th. So we should have further information at that time. No later than May 13th, they'll publish the standards for the EV chargers in the national network. So guidance on what to do to strategically deploy the EV charging stations for the national network will be February 11th. May 13th is when we're going to get the standards for the EV chargers. For those of you who are looking to be like Kacey and supercharge, or be like Mark, do those massive long trips, you're going to have more information on how you can do that with these networks by May 13th. And if they do get it out by the 13th, and if I'm still around, I'll bring it to you. And so we're getting information. We're soliciting all the alternative fuel corridors right now. So progress. Things are moving forward on this. We don't have individual plans per state. And we'll see, not so much that I think people would completely turn down the money, but we'll see with red states, because right now obstruction for obstruction's sake is kind of the, I don't know, it's like the national mood or something. It makes no sense
Their
to
brand.
me. It is on brand. We'll see if any red states push back, because man, we literally have people going, I don't care if there's a dangerous disease. I'd rather run out and play in traffic and roll around, with 401 steak sauce in front of tigers than get a shot. And literally, the idea for some of them that they would promote EVs and new infrastructure to bring that to their communities. Who knows? Some people might actually, always remember that litigation is a tool. And a lot of the tools use litigation to stop progress. So we'll see if there's anybody who comes in and says that there's an overreach, or if there's an too much impact of fossil fuel companies that are based in their states. There's a lot of ways things can go sideways. So hopefully we'll hold fast to those dates, and we'll find out a lot more. And I'm looking forward to it because you guys know, if you've watched this show at all, I'm big on public transport. I believe in public transport. As much as I love EVs, we can't put everybody in a car, so we need to have that. But I also feel equal access to EVs for people in rural communities and urban poor communities would go a long way to helping them adopt EVs or hybrids even. Just giving them a chance, because for so many people, I cannot imagine where the heck in New York City you're going to park your EV to charge if you live on like 135th and Convent Avenue. So putting something there, giving us some kind of access would be fabulous. And if they can electrify things in the reservations, do some research. You would be shocked at some of the conditions that our Native American brethren live under, and the fact that they have missed out on a lot of electrification. Things like Wi-Fi are not as common as you'd think within the US. Think about the Appalachians. So I'm excited to see this, because I think the benefit in multiple other areas is going to be huge. So fingers crossed we get what we see in this bill. Russell, you're muted. Should I fill them?
Isn't it better when I'm muted?
I don't know, Russell.
You said it, not us.
Yeah, no, I can own it. I mean, I can own that. But
Now, only if Mark could mute Russell when he.
the entire show I'd be doing this.
Especially after doing a handoff to Mark.
Yeah. I'm just.
Mark only wants to mute the handoffs.
Why? What is this? At one time, Mark and I were friends. I don't understand.
Yeah, we were friends.
Yeah,
What's happened? What's happened? You've changed, Russell. You've changed.
As I recall, I was one of the original co-hosts of the Tesla Life. I'm
You
just
absolutely
thinking
were.
back. Here,
Russell, your problem is you used to be cool, man.
okay?
Now you're not.
There. Hey, you know what? How much is this worth, Kacey?
That's a
Nothing?
good question. You'll have to ask Bonnie Norman. She was just auctioning off a lot of her Tesla gear for charity.
There you go. Well, my charity is me, which is probably Bonnie Norman's charity too. So, wow. Yeah, thank you, Georgia, very much. Yes, and hopefully we're going to do maybe even a little bit deeper dive coming up soon, depending on what Georgia's able to turn up. Obviously, as this develops, this is a huge bill. There's tons of stuff in there to talk about that will affect us and all of you out there. So thank you so much for that. I want to keep moving because we have a lot of ground to cover. And this next one, I don't know if it's just going to be rude or if it's going to be contentious, but might be both. Paul has a story about a really nice, friendly company doing a nice, friendly thing for their nice, friendly customers.
Yeah, so last show we talked about how with smartphone technology you'll be able to open up your car and not have to carry an expensive key fob. Well, our good friends at Toyota decided to ruin all that by saying even with the factory key fob that comes with the car that has features that you paid for, after a certain amount of time, they evaporate. And you'll have to pay them a monthly subscription fee to keep using said features. So, for example, you buy a car with a factory or dealer installed remote start. For the first 3 years, it works great. You can start the car from your living room and warm it up in the winter. After 3 years, you have to pay them $15 a month for that feature to work. And that's douchebaggery at its finest. Because it doesn't require the cloud or cell phone network to work. Now, if you had the feature to turn on your phone from the other side of the airport as you're walking to your car in the economy parking lot, and it has to go through the cellular network to reach it, then I could understand them charging a fee for that.
Yeah, because they got to run a server and a listener, blah, blah, blah.
And use the cell phone network. But to within remote range, from your remote in front of your house or inside your house, charge you to use it that you've already paid for, that's just wrong. And the whole internet was exploding about it this week, saying how wrong that is. So hopefully consumers will tell Toyota that's wrong and don't do that shit, unless you're giving me some value, something else that I couldn't do before. Don't charge me for it. So where's it going to end? Are they going to say, oh, after 3 years, your heated seats won't work unless you pay us, and your radio won't work in the car, and your air conditioning won't work?
Yeah.
Yep.
The
reason it blew up.
But
reason it blew up.
And JT24 mentioned Lexus has already started that. We had a customer came in, hey, my remote start stopped working, and we were troubleshooting it, trying to figure out if something was wrong with the car.
Signal's getting there.
Yeah. And we finally said, we did some research, and we called Lexus and said, oh, yeah, they got to pay now for that feature.
Yep.
But
that's why it's been blowing up, like you said, this week, is what happened 3 years ago this week. Everybody started buying 2018 models.
Yeah. And that's just wrong,
It's totally wrong. And they buried the information deep in the fine print, and I bet you most people didn't even see it, even if they do read everything. Because if you bought a car without software, without a phone connection, who's thinking that? Yeah. Why would I need a subscription to the button on my remote?
Again, if they gave you cool stuff that you could turn on the air conditioner half an hour from anywhere in the world in advance of getting to your car, that might be worth paying $10, $15 a month for. But to do it for stuff like, so what are they going to say? If you don't pay the money, your fob won't unlock the car. You're going to have to put the key in and turn it the old-fashioned way.
There's a crank that's going to come out of the front that you have to turn.
By the way, we have a cover over the lock, and better not lose it. It's only good for 3 removals because it's an emergency cover.
Here's, when I was thinking,
or you want the fuel gauge to work, you got to pay for that.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Pay 50 cents now to see how much fuel you have left.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Right? Just like per use. It's
and
interesting.
And you know what? They're probably hoping that people will just suck it up and deal with it.
Many will.
You know, one thing that irks me and a lot of people is, if you ever been to Vegas in the last 10 years, this resort fee crap,
Jesus
where
Christ.
they charge you for internet in the pool on top of the room, whether you use it or not.
Yep.
And now every hotel in Vegas is doing it, and everybody just says, "Yeah, that sucks, but I'm just going to pay it." You know?
Right. At least with BMW, it's a feature that wasn't on the car, or at least you didn't pay for the heated seats, and they told you up front, hey, it's going to be this much a month for the heated seats, which is still weird as hell, but that is monthly. I mean, because when you look at the base Model 3, that one is a one-time fee. It's like, hey, $200 to turn on the steering wheel and rear seat. But if you live in Florida and you're never going to use it, because you live in Miami, that's $200 of savings.
Or
But
you can
again, it's
do
upfront.
not a recurring subscription. Let's say you live in Florida, but you're driving to Michigan for December.
Yeah.
You pay for a month of heated seats, and then you cancel.
Right. But if you live in Canada, you tell BMW, I want that crap on all the time. I'll pay $1,000 for the feature. Just don't bother me again.
So regular viewers and listeners will have heard some version of this before, but forgive me if I go into this again. But we've talked about how dealers are not supportive of electric vehicles because it hurts their business model. Their business model requires, Paul's nodding his head because he knows, right? Because it requires, they're going to lose revenue in service, and service is a huge revenue generator for dealers. So here's the interesting thing, right? None of this money goes to dealers. This is Toyota saying, now we're going to be able to charge our customers for features we enable remotely. You don't have to go to the dealer anymore for software updates, but hey, you got to send us $10 or your remote start. It doesn't work.
Even worse is on these cars, there is no internet connection, so they have to come into the dealer, and then Toyota takes all the money, and you just had to give them free labor. Well, I'm sure the new ones are internet enabled.
Yeah,
I'm saying in 2018, how many of the cars were plugged in?
Yeah, I don't. It's
Now the good news is there are like on Priuses, you can get aftermarket remote starter installations that are locally based and mimic the factory. So by factory is like you press lock 3 times and hold it or something. And with the existing remote, you can invoke remote start. And there's companies that have these products that are a few $100 one-time fee to put them in the car. And hopefully Toyota doesn't make it so these aftermarket vendors cannot do that kind of thing. But the smart consumer can just do something like that and say, Toyota, go pound sand. I'm going to do my own locally connected thing.
At least General Motors gave me an actual button for remote start.
Yeah.
For the trouble.
Toyota Lexus, for some reason, I don't think I've ever seen a Toyota Lexus fob with a remote start button, but there's a sequence you press on the regular remote to do it. And actually
maybe that's
with the instructions.
Maybe that's so when they remove it, you don't have a button staring in the face that says, "Oh, you paid for this thing and you don't get it anymore."
Yeah, maybe.
This is broken. It doesn't work. No, you just didn't pay. It's buy this record or we'll shoot this dog. It's so slimy.
You wouldn't want anything to happen to this puppy, would you?
JG24 in the chat said slimy. Dude, it is totally slimy.
It's also slimy, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what? You bought all that hardware when you bought the car. What they're doing is they're charging you for functionality.
Yeah. Again, if they added stuff, then it's okay. But
right, or if like BMW, you could save money by not getting it, and then you could turn it on when you wanted it, and you knew up front this was the deal. Not, hey, pray we do not alter the deal further.
Or they could give you an option at the beginning. They could say lifetime of remote start, $500, or first 3 years for free. Then you pay $20 a month. You decide.
Yeah,
right.
Maybe that's a way. But word out to anybody buying a new car: read the agreements of what you get for what you pay, because was it Kacey said, a lot of people bought these cars 3 years ago, didn't read the agreements, and now it's biting them.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's a PR nightmare, and frankly, Toyota should.
But Toyota's been making PR nightmare after PR nightmare all over this year.
This has been a very bad PR year for Toyota, so pretty much on brand. Hopefully they figure it out and drop this charge.
Yeah. Hopefully they can get back to earning that reputation they actually have garnered.
This is not a defense of Toyota, but they still make good cars.
Sure.
The
That's the
problem is
reputation
they
I'm talking
don't
about.
always make good decisions.
Well, the
Yeah.
problem, though, Russell, isn't that they don't make a good car. It's that other people aren't doing stupid shit and they're making good cars as well. So when it was Toyota was making good cars, they could afford to do stupid shit. Now they really kind of have to not do that.
Well, and yeah, absolutely. That's certainly valid. We've seen the quality come up on other companies, and Toyota's not alone in the field, as it were, of like, hey, I want to buy a reliable 100,000 K car. You know,
Yep.
that wasn't that long ago. That was like, what? You know, so you could buy a Volvo or a Toyota. Fair enough, Paul. I'm looking.
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's sad. You know, I'm a big fan of Toyota's engineering and quality, but they pull shit like this, they're going to have less fans.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Guzik, and we will, of course, track the probably really warm and friendly customer reaction as that continues to grow. Certainly, Toyota will get all of the positive publicity they deserve. Let's go to Mr. Mark Coughlin for his weekly summary of This Week in Tesla.
This week, we're going to spend time on the track at Tesla. So earlier in the week, down at Gigafactory, Nevada, the drone army that's out in force around all Tesla plants at any time of the day or night picked up a video of the Tesla Semi out practicing some runs through the back parking lot, going back and forth. And this apparently looked like a new build. So the word on the street from the drone army is they believe this could possibly be a new prototype, maybe even the one that's going to Pepsi Cola, that's supposed to arrive with them by the end of the year. And of course, time's getting short. We only got another 15 days before the end of the year is here. So wondering if this may be that prototype that's going to Pepsi and maybe will reside at Frito-Lay's Modesto, California location. So
Read them holidays.
Yeah, so delivering chips and pop for the holidays. But the vehicle was just going back and forth in a back lot. Didn't look like it was doing all that much speed. It would do a quick takeoff and then kind of slow down. Actually, it's not even on a test track. It is a back lot.
Was it autonomous or a human driver?
Oh, it was a human driver, definitely. And they were doing some tight turns, which looked like a pretty good turning radius for a vehicle, especially one that's going to be that large. But of course, that's all you can get from a drone. There was no audio, or it was just viewing this practicing of the truck. And we know, of course, that there are going to be some assemblies of the Tesla Semi at Tesla Gigafactory Nevada, and that's where this one popped out. So the other thing of interest is at Nevada, they've also installed some mega chargers there. So there's a couple of mega chargers available that the Semi is going to be charging at. So they have access to quick charging for a truck size battery there, as well as what's being installed in Modesto, California at the Frito-Lay distribution center. They're installing those same mega chargers. So it looks interesting that maybe this, and of course the truck was white, not that you couldn't change the color, but again, Pepsi's color is white background, so that's a good fit as well. So we'll have to see if Pepsi does get their truck before the end of the year. This could be the candidate. So that would be very cool to see the first Semi on the road given to a customer. And again, there's going to be a lot of testing. This isn't just, okay, here's your new truck. We'll see you next year. This is going to be to collect data, and Pepsi will obviously put it on their routes, and Tesla will be collecting the data from that truck as it's on its routes, most likely. Next bit of test track news is from Fremont Factory. And again, thank you very much to the drone army that's out there all the time. The Cybertruck update was shown on the Fremont track out back. So it was doing some laps. Actually, can I share a photo here, Russell?
Absolutely, you can.
I will share this.
I want to see the first impressions from the top row here when they see this picture.
Dun dun dun. Oh my God!
So here's a close-up. You can see some of the changes here. You've got a curved window now. You can see this is not a straight line, so they've put a little bit of a curve in the window. We've got a little bit of extension on the back that goes over the bed slightly. We, of course, have side mirrors. They weren't on the vehicle before. You can see there is no door handle. That's been removed. And you can see this honking wiper blade that looks like about 48 inches long. I'm sure you can pick up one of these at your local Costco without a problem. And of course, the rims are a little bit different, but to be frank, the previous Cybertruck that was out there had hubcaps on, so we really didn't know what was underneath the rims anyway. Underneath the hubcaps, what kind of rims they were. So these could be different. They could be the same. And of course, the blue painter's tape, that's an addition as well. So you'll also notice that the dash it's not that milky white or marble looking dash. It's switched to a black or dark gray. And the depth from the front of the windshield to the dash looks like it's increased a little bit. And the front hood looks a little bit smaller. So it does look like they kind of shifted the inside of the vehicle forward a bit. And then there were other pictures, exterior shots of the lighting. The light bar does look kind of the same in this photo, but it looked like in the pictures with the lights on that the vehicle had a different configuration of lights. So again, not sure completely. Maybe the light bar is being able to be used in multi different ways, but that was one other change that was noticed as the truck was on the track.
Maybe Costco is the only one to carry that wiper blade because you buy it in bulk.
Now, quickly after the wiper blade was shown, of course, the comments started to flow. Oh my gosh, what is that ugly looking thing? Who put a
You throw it
broom
up as a
mop?
sale.
Who put a broom mop on the front of that truck? And Elon replied quite quickly that this was not a production wiper. That's just out there for testing. We really don't know what the wipers are going to be. There's been no comment on it. If it's going to be, mounted at the top, mounted at the sides, mounted at the bottom, it's open for interpretation at this point. Nobody really knows. But again, good to see the truck out doing some testing. This was at Fremont factory, by the way. So not where it's going to be built, which is going to be Texas. So obviously Fremont has the ability to design and modify. They probably have a number of special shops where they can work on ones and twos whenever they feel like it. But it was interesting to see that they headed out cruising the track and doing some laps along with some other vehicles. So good to see, because of course they have pushed back the production of this vehicle to the end of 2022. So
really?
got a year ahead to see what kind of and what the prototype's going to look like. We have no idea. We have heard things like the no door handles, which have shown up in this particular prototype, but there are some other changes too. We would love to get a better update on what this vehicle is going to be looking like, its specifications, its sizes, what's changed from the original prototype. And we're hoping that Elon will be able to give us a little bit of that during the product roadmap that he's promised to give in the first quarter of 2022. So hopefully some of those details will happen then as well. So
if you have no door handles and unbreakable glass, how do you get in if the battery?
Well, we did see that there wasn't really unbreakable, didn't we? So Apparently,
So-
Paul, there is some sort of an indentation on the B pillar in these photos as well. Couldn't really see from my photograph, but there was a button. It looked like an indent where maybe you could push your thumb in the indent and it would pop it if you had maybe the key fob on you. Not really sure. This is a speculation as well, but some people did notice that there was that additional change to the B pillar.
Wouldn't the
So,
easiest solution just be to carry a 4-inch chromoly steel ball with you?
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So on my car, if there's no power, first you have to supply power, and then if it's just a matter that your key doesn't have power, you have to put your key in a special spot. So I guess on the Cybertruck, you just make sure your phone is charged.
But does your car have a mechanical way to open the door?
Only from the inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does it have an external way to jumper cable the car if you can't?
Yeah,
open it?
yeah. You can force the front trunk open and then attach jumper cables to the 12 volt.
So those AAA guys have some way of rescuing you,
Yeah.
Exactly.
or they just put a cover over it and go, dead, done.
Well, that's what the cop did to that old man who was in the gravel and his car was on fire. Instead of breaking the window, he just ran away and said, "I couldn't find the door handles." And let the old man die.
Oh,
I got nothing.
I was infuriated at that. He could have broke the window. He had a nightstick, a gun, all the rocks that the guy crashed into. Just break the window and get the old man out. So let him crisp.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mark. Is that?
That's it. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you, Mark. Do follow the Tesla Life on Twitter at the Tesla Life and search YouTube for the Tesla Life Show. Look for the shiny red logo. Subscribe so that you get the best Tesla news right from the source, and that's Mark and Kacey. Thank you
Thank
very
you, Russell.
much. Let's go to Georgia, who has, interestingly enough, we've actually talked about this topic before, Georgia, years ago, way back in the old days when we talked about radiator grill blocking. Kacey, you get that nostalgic feeling?
Yeah.
Tony Schaefer had talked about this subject, and it's
Hi,
one of those
Tony.
things that, like, if you give it a little bit of thought, it makes so much sense. So, Georgia, tell us what's the hot tip all the young kids are? No, wait, I'm sorry, I hate that shit.
What's old is new again.
you would think, because traveling via EV, you kind of have to be efficient because distance. As you were just discussing, getting into your car or dealing with the battery if it runs out of gas, it's not that easy, metaphorically gas. Now, Swedish scientists have done a study to figure out the most energy efficient way of organizing your trip. Really, it was to help EVs that are doing deliveries. Because, we spend a lot of gas we're doing all this stuff, and getting them into EVs would be fantastic. But we have to figure out how to have them do their jobs and yet still manage to make it profitable for them and efficient. Well, they found out that while you may think the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line and that should be the most efficient, not quite. Energy efficiency based on battery usage is much different. And it doesn't mean less miles. You can actually put more miles on your car for that trip and spend less energy based on your battery. So they did a lot of work. Let's see, what is it? Researchers at Chalmers University of Technology in Sweden. They have developed tools to help electric delivery vehicles navigate strategically so they use as little energy as possible. So the secret is not looking at the distance total to be traveled. It instead focuses on the overall energy usage based on the battery, and that can lead you to an energy savings of up to 20%. What do they have to think about? Well, you got to talk about things like, I don't know, traffic, going uphill, how all that impacts the battery. So now,
Headwinds.
what was that, Kacey?
Headwinds.
Headwinds.
Driving into the wind. Yeah.
Because, it's really difficult. And load. Hilly routes. and whether or not you had the chance to charge along the way. So I thought that was a kind of an interesting study because most of us would think, well, as long as we can go there and back again really quickly, we're going to save a lot of energy, right? Well, based on my trip to where is it? Seattle, where there is a massive hill that you have to go and I was in an electric vehicle, and all I could think was, please, dear God, don't roll back. Um, you don't want to lose power at a critical time. And I was thinking, this car feels like my description of riding in a Mini Cooper. Whole lot of effort to get up this hill. And all I could think was, boy, this better be a full battery with no problems. So, yeah, who knew? I certainly didn't know. A lot of people don't know. But battery efficiency is a far more effective way of determining whether or not your trip is energy saving. I thought that was pretty cool. And now we're all going to ignore it because we don't want to waste we don't want to waste 5 extra minutes driving. We want a direct route. So, but I love the fact that science is out there showing us things, and our common sense or lack thereof allows us to ignore it completely and do what the heck we want to do and wonder about it later on.
I think it'd be really cool to put this into all the GPS apps, particularly, Google and Apple. That way, you could just say, "Hey, I'm going to these places. This place I need to go first," and then just optimize. And then
I think they are
cool.
working on something like that. I mean, they don't really have it out as a commercial tool or an add-on, but I would not be surprised as EVs become more popular and become more part of the national car use that it doesn't become an option, because right now in Google I can tell you how to get from A to B based on whether you're walking, whether you are driving, taking public transportation.
Oh, I'm sure we could. If I were to ask Mark, he would say that this exists on the commercial level. I'm curious. I don't know that running my errands, that would be something I want to pay for, but it would really be nice.
I can't see an individual loading in. I've got 12 tasks to do today, or 5, and loading them into an application, each address, and then saying optimize. There's no way someone's going to do that.
But if they're already going to put them in, like for self-drive, for instance, they're already going to put in, I need to go here, here, and here. You just put them all in at one time and say, go. I can see somebody doing that.
No.
But yeah, you're right. I don't see anybody doing something like a separate app to optimize, unless they're like an Uber driver or delivery driver or something like that. I need to get all these things done.
It'd have to be a business, and I don't see individuals doing that at all.
Doing it for fuel economy is...
Yeah, for fuel economy, or if you bought a short range car.
Well, considering
like that Mazda.
Didn't we just have a car that you guys were talking about that didn't have longer range, and you were surprised about that? But let's suppose you had to travel with that. I don't think it's necessarily, unless you are doing any kind of not so much ride share, but some sort of task-based employment, that could be useful. But what if you have to take a shorter range EV and you need to figure out ways to maximize that battery usage? This would come in handy. And I think honestly, being able to plug that into your Google map or what have you, to say what's the most energy efficient route that I could take, would be very useful.
Already in Google, certainly in Google Maps, you can walking directions, bicycle directions, car directions, right? If there was an efficient driving versus just, I want to get there quickly, I want to avoid toll roads. No, I want to get there the most efficient way.
So occasionally, my Google Maps will show me something with a little leaf. It said, "We picked this because you drive an EV." I wonder if this is the start of that.
Probably.
That's interesting.
Also, keep in mind that a number of the EVs out there today, and this may be today's problem only, that the efficiency in the motors, the batteries, altogether as a package, as a car, can vary widely. Some of them more than 40%.
Yeah.
That's true. Some of them aren't engineered to be efficient in any way.
No, some of them are not.
That's And again, right? That's that way with ICE vehicles. It's that way with everything. So I'm not making a value judgment here. I'm just pointing out the reality of the market. Let's move on. Thank you very much for that, Georgia. To our final topic. And I'm going to go to Mr. Kacey Green. Kacey, before we start, I just in the chat, in the private chat,
Yeah.
did you actually say 2?
Yes,
You
2.
2, not 1, 2.
Yes.
Okay, I just Kacey Green, take it away.
So Tesla does what are called drops. If you're familiar with a brand called Supreme, where they put out an item with their name on it, and it usually sells out within a day or two. Well, Tesla's been doing that, and my wife has finally stopped questioning me when I asked to buy a drop, and she said, just get 2 of them whenever you do it. So I bought 2 of the belt buckles for Texas, even though I don't like belt buckles. I don't wear aftermarket belt
And
buckles.
you don't like Texas.
And I'm not a fan of Texas. So I also bought the cyber whistle. But I just got an email at the start of the show from Tesla saying that the belt buckles are on their way. We've learned that once these drops sell out, just like the other places that do drops, they don't ever restock them, and so there's a little bit of a demand. And so when I put the item up on my shelf, it looks good on the show, and then when I'm done with said item, it often sells for more than what I paid for it. So it's kind of a weird little Chotsky investment.
So you're a scalper.
No, not a scalper, because if you hang on to it for a while, it's a collectable. So if I hang on to it for like say 5 years,
All right.
So
yeah,
I just want to be clear.
yeah.
Be really honest with you, Kacey. I'm not implying you're never honest. I'm just saying I want you to think about this response. Are you buying these Tesla items as an investment or not?
As a collectible, yeah, I'm definitely gonna put one up on the shelf, which is over here right now. But who knows where it'll be when my wife gets done moving the house around again. But it may be back on camera again sometime. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have the power wall technically.
How
It's at
many
my dad's house now.
surfboards do you have, Kacey?
I missed the surfboard. I missed the flamethrower. I missed a bunch of stuff. The cyber quad. I missed. I tried. I really tried, but I could not get wife approval on that. It's $1,900.
She's very smart.
Right, but
She saved you.
she's like, one, too heavy. 2.
I'm not gonna rag on you because I picked up 2 Warcraft T-shirts because they were on sale. So
Yeah.
But unlike you, I wear what I buy.
Let's compare
Well,
this.
yeah.
How much was your Warcraft T-shirt?
They were $8 a piece.
Thank you.
50% off.
Casey, how much were your belt buckles?
Their belt buckles?
Say it, Casey.
$150 a piece plus tax.
What the
Thank you.
entire
Thank
fuck?
And wait. Let's be clear here. Intrinsic value. Now, I'm not saying that you may not make money, and you very likely will. They're zinc cast belt buckles. Okay.
Correct.
Correct. The buckle itself is worth $1.50, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the first one where it wasn't something I could see myself hanging on to and actually using, other than hanging it on the display. Like the Tesla Tequila for one was fun.
I want you to wear them suckers, and then I want you to put on a 10-gallon hat and do whatever. What is it?
Do an impression of Elon's brother, Kimball.
Country line dance thingy.
No, thank you.
I am personally waiting for the gold-plated buckle myself.
You know what? When the employee buckles were selling, they were going for, what were they, 10,000 a piece? That would have been great in gold.
What?
Yep.
If you were smart, Mark, you just gold-plate it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna.
Can I borrow your belt buckle when you get it, Kacey?
If you gold plate it, does that ruin the mintness for the collectors or not? That's the next question. Like baseball cards.
I'm gonna.
Wait a second. Wait.
You know,
can I get bids on this then?
Yes.
Oh.
$5.
Cash?
Actually, I bet you some Tesla nerd would probably pay $100 for that.
$5 whole bucks.
Oh God.
A vintage employee badge.
It is
Oh, I'm
definitely
just gonna
vintage.
wear my t-shirts in happiness as I go to the gym and 150. Hell no.
I,
But the
I-
whistle was $50.
well, and how much was the Tesla Kilo?
The Tesla Kilo was $250.
Right.
Um,
And did you bought some of that too, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Some of that. I say
that
some.
Tesla-
How much of
Tesla
that did you
tequila?
buy?
I only bought one because this was before my wife realized that she should just let me get two whenever they would drop.
Just no.
But I knew better than to get two cyberquads and have them shipped to the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been. You might not have seen me here today.
Oh my god. Okay, but Mr. Green, as much as I've enjoyed this conversation, this was not what you were going to discuss.
No, we were going to discuss how.
No, we don't have to discuss that other topic if you don't want to.
So we were going to discuss how Mr. Musk has made Man of the Year twice this week.
Person of the year, thank you.
Person.
He's a man.
It's POTY. Person
Okay.
of the year, according to Time
Person of the year.
Magazine. I'm just,
Okay. Yeah, it could have been a woman or non-binary, but so for Time and Financial Times, he made Person of the Year this year.
That's right.
Yes,
Ugh.
and that was as far as I was going to get into
What
it.
is
And I
that?
told Russell that I would spend more time on the belt buckle than the news.
Well, that's because the belt buckle
did.
is actually far more interesting than.
Right. There were
Has
some folks who
anybody actually bought a Time magazine in the last 20 years.
right, all the dentists and doctors' offices.
Yeah, exactly.
They still even print that shit? I mean, isn't
Yeah.
it just online?
They actually do print it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
still
for
printed.
dentists and doctors' offices.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. It was a paper magazine
What are
still.
you doing?
Yep. They got bought. They're no longer as reputable as they once were.
Here's
I guess
how old
Odo
I
has
am.
thoughts.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We were supposed to read Time magazine as a class assignment when I was in junior high school. And
Yeah.
I figured out that shit wasn't legit then. Okay.
Well, they've gone to new levels since
that
then.
was a
Yes, when
long
I
time
was
ago.
Think Sinclair.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
That level of decline.
Can I help you?
Mhm.
So is that an insult then if they make Elon Man of the Year, Person of the Year, Thing of the
Well, it's
Year?
still a prestigious award, and he did do a lot of stuff over the last couple of years.
Oh, come on.
And I mean, yes, there were plenty of people who qualified, and
Well, I celebrate his rise from the depths as a South African emerald mine heir to go from millionaire to billionaire.
that part is lies told by his father. I would celebrate his rise as a young kid who was bullied in South Africa by.
Oh, come on.
But the emerald, I mean, literally, like if you had a safe that was so full of money that you couldn't close it, you would buy a bigger safe. That was his first clue. The dude lying his ass off.
I got nothing. I'm gonna behave for once, okay? I'm just gonna behave.
Yeah, well, congrats to him. Hopefully, this means he'll get a better haircut.
He cut it himself, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, that made the news.
Can't
It
afford a
showed.
barber.
I mean, yeah, he looks like there was an incident.
Somebody asked him if he was going for that character from, was it Fifth Element, right?
Right.
Yes, he does.
And he
look like
said that was definitely part of the influence. I was like, nobody should admit that.
So he wants to be that. He's looking like a freaking Bond villain with that cut,
Right.
and not a good one.
I mean, I know a lot of people that cut their own hair for either savings or because they're actually good at it. He doesn't need the savings, and he isn't good at it.
Well, maybe he'll find a new girlfriend based on this wonderful honor.
He might. New girlfriend, new baby mama. He said that he needs to repopulate.
Same
so.
thing. Come on, it's Elon. How many kids does he have?
He has 6 living, all boys.
Really?
Yeah. And 5 of them have normal names. And the original one also had a normal name.
Encouraging him spawning. This is just wrong.
He seems kind of hands off with them, personally, just judging from
It
the outside.
seems like he's accruing them. Hands off is not what I would call it.
I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very impressed, as you can see. Although I'm acting like the Bond villain.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Catching the cat on the chair, the armrest.
stroking your kitty and planning the end
Granted,
of the
I'm
world.
making the cat happy.
There you go. Well, that's
All right.
not even.
Let's wrap this up and go
Let's
home.
wrap this up. Thank you very much, Kacey Green. Let's do some shout outs and go home. And I'm going to start with, let's start with the Bond villain.
She's busy.
I want you to die, Mr. Bond. Just,
We're like, look, it's a cat. It's a great kitty, isn't it? Yes,
it is a good kitty.
All right, he's done now. It's actually, this is pretty good for him because usually he just puts his tail in my face, for
It's
anything
coming.
important.
It's
just my
coming.
tail.
It's almost there.
It's
It
flicking.
really is. It's really close. It's almost like you could watch.
Then comes the turning the butthole in the face. Yeah.
Oh, he loves
That part.
that. He loves to do it in something important. But my shout outs today, well, it's to the rain. I am very grateful. Get out of here. For the rain. And for everybody that likes to hang out with us while we talk cars and sustainability and all that fun stuff. That's right, Jay. I'm sure he has done way more interesting stuff than I have. And I'm going to say also thanks to all the people who hang out with us. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe because you've been here this long. Obviously, you're getting something out of it. While you're at it, head on over to our fellow channels. We got Kacey Green's channel. He's teaching that AI, getting things ready for the robot revolution. So, you know who to bribe, so he puts in a good word for you. Hit like and subscribe over there. And while you're at it, bounce on over to Mark's channel, The Tesla Life, because he's got all that good Tesla info. He's got all those shots, the drone shots of the top secret truck that looks a lot like it needs some nerves on that modeling, but we'll see what happens when they finally finish it. So, thanks for hanging out with us, and I'm going to toss it back to Russell.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Mr. Green, what's going on with you, sir?
So over at youtube.com/Kacey Green, KACEYGREEN, I've got on Sundays a chat similar to this, but very long form. And I'm working on a video that hopefully will be out in time for the holidays of a Tesla destination charger. I sat down and interviewed one of the site owners, and we discussed what it was like, and then we discussed their establishment. And I'm trying to figure out how I can work in. They had some live music that was done, and it was very beautiful. And so I'm trying to figure out how to work that in without ballooning the length of the video. So stay tuned for that.
Do follow Kacey, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you can find out when he's doing his latest things. Hey, Kacey.
Yeah.
I shot 4K video at the San Marcos Supercharger this week.
There we go.
So I'm moving in your territory, man. I'm moving in. Okay. So if you want to send some thugs over here to rough me up because I'm, getting in on your territory, that's fine. I deserve it. That's all I'm going to say. Can't wait to do a supercharger review. Mark Coughlin.
I cannot wait to see that supercharger review on it, Russell. That's
I was
what I
thinking
can't
you
wait
said
for.
All I'm going to say is I spend about 20 minutes trying to put the Tesla charging cable into the gas thing of my Prius. Okay?
In 4K, that's awesome.
How many of them took your picture and put it on a Facebook group?
Very good. I want to let you know if you're out there at this point, please press like and subscribe. But also, if you want to follow What Drives Us on the socials, you can follow us everywhere. All you have to do is look up What Drives Us. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. The green logo up over here, just look that up on any social media and you can follow us through the week. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coughlin. And last and not least, Mr. Paul Guzik. What's up?
I want to go home, so I'm just going to say check out my company's website, boulderhc.com, if you're in Colorado. And thanks for coming to everybody.
Paul's not being poopy. He works all day and then does this show at his office. So
Well, mostly you work all day, too.
who?
Yeah, we do.
We're all
Yeah.
like, I guess. I mean, I guess I don't.
Yeah,
work
but
on
you're
this.
the
Except
one
Russell.
honestly sitting at the office still. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Paul. I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for the generous donations tonight. I appreciate that so much. It is wonderful to have. And yeah, we do have bills to pay, and we pay them. We make very little money, so every little bit helps. It's much appreciated. I want to thank Georgia McKenzie, Kacey Green, Paul Guzik, and Mark Coughlin for doing a great show. Thank you so much. I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song or an album. What the heck? Buy something. And that's all I've got. So tune in next week and find out what drives us. Thank you. Good night.
Stay safe, everybody.